eccentrics don't have a home here.
On his way for his big conference speech, Lib Dem leader Tim Farron waiting for the lights to change. For his party, though, the electoral green man could quite possibly never light up again.
On the local level, they're very cheered up by winning all these council by-elections, and they've had a large influx of new members into the parties. So they're quite chirpy about that. And clearly they see that there's an opportunity for them because Corbyn's taken the Labour Party way off to the left. Unfortunately, of course, the national picture remains unchanged since before the last disastrous general election result, which is the national polls are still stuck way, way down in single figures.
These people are clearly stuck with the party, but what about those lost Lib Dems, the 4.4 million voters who voted for them in 2010 and abandoned them in 2015? In some exclusive polling for Newsnight, YouGov has gone looking for them, and what they found should worry the Lib Dem leadership. First, the good news. When asked whether they would consider voting Lib Dem again, 75% said they might, with varying degrees of commitment. Only 13% ruled it out for all time. So it seems the lost Lib Dems might one day be recovered. But when YouGov asked those same people how much they felt they knew about what the Lib Dems stand for these days, a staggering 70% said they were either uncertain or very uncertain. Johnny Oates was Nick Clegg's chief of staff during the coalition years. Now he's a Lib Dem peer.
Well, I think this really goes back to our pre-coalition days, to be honest, where we always fought to get attention. It's harder now because of the Scottish National Party position, but it was always hard back then. And I think what we need is an event to cut through, probably a parliamentary by-election that we can win. And, you know, there isn't one immediately on the horizon, but that's often been the way that we've cut through back to public attention, because then the media have to hear from us and they have to sit up and take notice. But until the media thinks we're relevant, we're not going to get our message across to the wider public.
Lastly, Mr. Tim Farron.
Since the SNP became the third largest party in the Commons, the Lib Dems have had to forage for parliamentary scraps.
However irritating the honourable gentleman.
Whilst his predecessors had 2 questions a week, Tim Farron has only had 6 questions in the 34 PMQs since he became leader.
And he will be heard, Mr. Tim Farron.
I am fantastically grateful to you, Mr. Speaker.
In today's world, the world of social media, the world of 24-hour news, leaders are so important. And when you look at Tim Farron, you see a leader who, among the electorate, 2/3 of the people don't know whether he's doing well or badly. Half of people that voted for the Lib Dems at the last election don't know whether he's doing well or badly. And among his own supporters, those people who support the Lib Dems at the moment, just under 1/3 don't know if he's doing well or badly. That's a really bad position to be in.
I was born and raised in Preston.
But no one can say that Tim Farron isn't ambitious. Today, he told his conference he wants to be like this man. Justin Trudeau, the rock star-like Liberal Prime Minister of Canada.
Trudeau's Liberals leapt over an inadequate official opposition to defeat a right-wing Conservative government. Do you fancy doing that? Because I do. Because I do.
In a direct appeal to centrist Labour supporters, Mr Farron praised Tony Blair, although not for the Iraq War.
Tony Blair's government gave us the national minimum wage. It gave us working tax credits. It gave us NHS investment and a massive school building programme. I disagree with him a lot, but I will not criticise him for those things. I admire him for those things.
I think Tim Farron was absolutely right to make this pitch for those disenfranchised moderate Labour voters who now feel they have no one to represent their views, and indeed their worldview, which is an essentially liberal one. The problem is, both for the Lib Dems and for the moderate Labour Party, there is a gaping hole, not just this tactical hole that Farron was talking about today, but also a hole in terms of ideas and vision and pitch and fresh policy thinking. And until the Lib Dems and the moderate Labour Party, or the moderate wing of the Labour Party, actually sort that out, what is it that they're actually offering the voters as an alternative to Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn?
One big policy that unites the centrists is staying in the EU, but is that on its own enough?
The idea of the Lib Dems concentrating on staying part of the EU is popular with about 1 in 10 of the electorate and about a quarter of their current supporters. Now that's enough to put it at the top of the list of priorities, but it's by no means overwhelmingly the case that any group within the electorate thinks, yes, that's what they should be doing.
These are not easy political times for any leader. We are in a state of realignment and flux. Tim Farron's party has arguably the most to gain, but also perhaps the biggest challenge.